Jenny, thanks so much for clicking on my video. Today's video shows how I painted this green and gold hills landscape. This piece was actually inspired by something I saw on Pinterest. It's an ombre print by Miss Bell. I loved the gradual fade of brown hues and thought they were reminiscent of hills in the distance. I decided to use a green, gold and brown colour scheme. All my paints are acrylic paint. These are my two main greens, leaf green and olive green. I have used these both separately for two different shades and then mixed together to create a third shade. Also, I mixed this with cream to give me a fourth shade. I made a fifth green by mixing the leaf green with a tiny bit of black and my sixth green by mixing the olive green with a touch of black. So in total, I'm using around 6 shades of green. For the browns, I used these two shades, a warm brown, burnt sienna, and a cool brown, umber. Again, I use these separately. I also mix them together, and I also mix them with black, and I also mix them with white. Then I used 3 different golds. The first 2 you see here are just called gold, but each brand has a different version of gold. These come out quite varied actually. Again, mix with cream or white to get another option. So that's the colours, and here is my canvas. It's another big one this time, 160 by 120 centimetres. This is the design. It's so simple, you really don't need to be good at drawing for this one. It's a bunch of wavy lines where some go from edge to edge and others go down to meet the lines below. Some lines are steeper than others, and none of them are particularly neat and definitely not parallel. The idea is that they are organic and flowing. Also, it's nice to have the dip in the middle of the piece slightly off center, as I think this is more pleasing to the eye. Then take a black pen and draw them on. This was very fast. Now then, I have to admit I had no plan whatsoever with colours to begin with. I thought blues would set quite a tranquil scene and just went in without considering the colour order. Anyway, as you see, I changed my mind pretty quickly and covered these up with these 3 shades of olive green. It's important to remember that there are lots of different skills with painting, and one of them is being able to visualize your colours together. It's something I definitely don't always get right, that's for sure, but acrylic paint is the best for allowing you to make a mistake and quickly cover it up and pretend it was never there. On this right hand side, I do each section a little bit lighter and a little bit lighter until I have applied various mixtures of greens to create this dark to light illusion. On the left hand side, I haven't applied them in the same gradient, but the greens are similar to create a balance. I know that when we say light green, we might just assume green with white, but you can also lighten green by mixing with yellow. I like to think of green and white as a minty green, and green and yellow as a lime green. I do 3 tones of each of the browns here. The warm sienna and the cool umber, both mixed with cream to make 3 stages of lightness. I made what I think of as 2 steps of each shade, one with a little white, and then another with lots of white. Essentially, you could mix quite a few different gradations with just the white and black, adding more or less as you please. The 3 golds came straight from the pots, so no mixing required. And as I paint in these shapes at the top, I try to use very light colours to make that feeling of them being in the distance, possibly in the misty distance. I add gold to the hills on the right hand side as well for balance. Now up to this point I have been quite rough with my application, so I need to go back and sharpen up the edges with a nice flat paintbrush. I tend to do it this way because I know myself and I know I like to change colours sometimes, so I'd better make sure they're all how I want them before I refine it. It could definitely be done more neatly as you go though, to avoid having to remix all your colours at this stage. I added a very pale grey hill at the top here and a pale gold one too to add the distance vibe I was talking about before. So this is how it looks with all the sections painted in, fairly neatly. I defined some of the edges with a black, as I think this has become part of my style now. I love the contrast black gives and the sharpness between colours. To give it a bit of jazzing up, I wanted to add these rolling lines to accentuate the intertwining rolling hills feeling. I'm using a mixture of ink on a brush and also fine liner pens of different widths. The pen was fast and I had more control, so I did most of it with the pen. And that's it. I really like the black lines. They remind me of that carving you get on a lino print or a wood print, which you see a lot in Hokusai's work. It's hard to see, but the gold really glitters in the right light and looks wonderful with the greens. If you're looking for an easy painting, this one is a great one to try. Simple and effective. Thanks so much for watching. See you next time.